All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
Yeah, we are back again on the other side of the coin. Yes. What a victory, ladies and gentlemen. The live chat is already buzzing. We haven't even started. Kudos to everyone that's joined in. I will say throughout this live stream, we will take, actually, I did mention in the preview that we want to get some of the fans coming today. So I might give an opportunity to maybe 2 or 3 people to join us and quickly give their reaction because, it's needed. On a particular day like this, it's absolutely needed. What a victory. I mean, away from home, 1-0, clean sheet, Giroud special. First of all, I've got a massive squad here today. I've got Jonathan, Nishal, Taryn, and a debutant RS. So first of all, Jonathan, my man, how you doing?
Absolutely buzzing. As I just said to you before we started the stream, I haven't celebrated a goal like that for years. What a win. What an away goal. And we are now, I'd say, probably favourites going into the home leg. So, yeah, absolutely ecstatic. Really excited to get into this.
100%. I mean, to get that kind of victory, the way we played really well. Obviously, we'll get into the whole final third situation where we weren't that great. But the way we managed them was phenomenal, in my opinion. Nishal, my man, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm very good, very excited to be on. Good to have a new face on as well. Always great to get as many people. And there's a lot to dissect, a lot to talk about from that game. But what a result, what a win.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. Taryn, my boy, you must be happy after that.
I'm absolutely buzzing, as I can't lie. I have so much to get into this game. I have so much to analyse, and it's good to have a new face on the stream. And yeah, let's just get straight into it.
Brilliant. RS, the newbie, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be on with all of you to talk about our club, and it's a great feeling. I haven't felt like this since I think last season when we beat Ajax. That's the last time I had this feeling like this. So yeah, it's great, man.
True. Yeah, that was a good victory actually away from home against Ajax last season. We forget that. That was a nice 1-0 victory as well. But this in the second round, guys, let's get into this properly. Get some opening statements from each and every one of you guys. Get that opening reactions out. First of all, my main man, Jonathan, as Maldini's middle finger has said, our main man, Jonathan. Jonathan, some opening statements from you, my man.
Look, I just tweeted the fact that Diego Simeone's game plan, his style of play, can do everything, but it can't account for individual brilliance. And that Giroud overhead kick, the bicycle kick, was absolutely superb. It, took 2.5 minutes or so to give the goal, and that wait seemed like an eternity. And my head was going back to the Pulisic goal. I think it was Valencia last season where we drew 2-2, where it shouldn't have been a goal, and VAR gave it. And I thought, let's just please, fingers crossed, please,
I had
let's just
no
give this
idea
goal.
what was going on. Did you know what was going on? I was like, what are they checking?
They were checking to see if Hermoso, I think it was Hermoso,
actually
touched it. Yeah, and it was a deliberate touch, and it was clearly off of him. They give the goal, and yeah, I was absolutely buzzed. I nearly fell off my chair, if I'm honest with you, because I was that happy. So, yeah, look, would we have scored from open play the way we were playing? Maybe not. And the fact that Giroud scored that great goal is fantastic to get the away goal, and obviously for us to go into the second leg. But no, we dominated the ball. Didn't really have too much to worry about defensively. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with that. And I think, a lot of analysis was on this game. Obviously me and Miz, we've built it up for 2 days now, and it's lived up. That result is probably the best result I'd say that we could have hoped for.
100% agreed, man. As you said, Jonathan, the build-up that we had to this match was epic. To get an Atleti fan, then we had the preview yesterday as well, and to get this particular victory just rewards. I mean, I feel like we probably could have had another goal as well, but we will get to that. I mean, still extremely happy about the result. Nishal, your initial thoughts, my man?
In terms of performance, that wasn't a game that I think we'll be shouting about for years to come. But in terms of results, that is one we will be celebrating for a long, long time. We've had a problem this season where we haven't performed against the big teams. Awful record against top 6. Haven't been able to challenge the teams, Bayern Munich's and Barcelona's when we come up against them. We haven't been able to come up against them and challenge them. But today, absolutely outstanding result. It's never an easy game against Atletico, especially when they're in form, top of La Liga, incredible team as well. But, unbelievable result. I couldn't see us coming away with a win at some points in the game because, like I said, it wasn't stunning, it wasn't majestic, but we got the win. My main focus was getting the away goal. Not only did we get the away goal with Giroud, absolutely stunning goal, but we've got the win against Atletico away from home, and it's all set up for the second leg. So the perfect result for Chelsea, and huge credit for Thomas Tuchel. He played that game to perfection tactically, and like I said, it wasn't beautiful, it wasn't majestic, but we got the win, and that is what matters.
100%. I feel like we upped the intensity a little bit as well in the second half. Straight away, we came out from the blocks in the second half. We looked so much better as well. I mean, it's not that we didn't look good in the first half, but in the second half, I felt like Tuchel really probably gave them a good speech that you guys just got to keep in it, and it was good to see, and we got that reward of that goal. Taron, man, initial thoughts, my man?
No, I thought we were fantastic in that game. I thought we kept the ball really well in the first half against a really, really strong Atletico team that we made them look like a team that was much worse than they actually were in that game. You can say they were top of the league by 3 points. They've dominated a really tough league, and we've absolutely dominated them the whole game. I didn't see any real clear chances from them that affected us in any way. I thought that some of our player performances were absolutely excellent today. We'll get into that, but this is an unbelievable result away from home in the Champions League against this team to go into the second leg with that 1-0. Atletico have to come out to us instead of us going out to them or us trying to get a goal. It's now them saying to Simeone, can you attack us? But an absolute masterclass from Thomas Tuchel, similar to the Mourinho game. I thought that we were playing against Tottenham on steroids today. Tottenham, literally, their defence, all better players in defence. Compare Hermoso to Eric Dyer. Compare Davinson Sanchez to
it was so crazy to see they had like six at one time. They had six in the back, like in a line.
The wall of China was literally right in front of us, and we just went into it. Like, just absolutely. If we got that final ball right, we could have pummeled Atletico tonight. It will come, but the signs from Tuchel are just so promising in its early weeks. We beat Tottenham, beat Atletico, only conceded 2 goals from open play in general, in fact. And I just thought we were absolutely superb today, and I'm so excited to get into the review and analyse some of these player performances because I'm so happy with some of the players today.
100%, me too, man. We must say, to keep the Spanish La Liga champion goalless and getting a win as well, away from home. I guess it was a neutral venue for them as well, but that's a brilliant big result for us. So obviously, as you said, Taron, we will talk about a lot of the player performances. I got a lot to say about the way many probably wanted, let's say, in midfield, Kante or Kovacic and 1-9. Some praise needs to be given to Jorginho as well. He might not have been the best in terms of passing in the first half, but he keeps control well with Kovacic as a unit, and the whole team works, as opposed to previously how Kovacic and Jorginho just looked pedestrian not that long ago. So, how all of that has changed is immense. RS, your initial thoughts, my man?
I'm just wondering when Suarez is going to come out of Christensen's pocket, because he was non-existent today. And it's just beautiful the way we played. Like, we put our stamp on the game from early on, keeping possession. It showed the direction we're going as a club with this attacking football, because usually our iconic away European performances in the past has been resilience, defending, dogged style type of performances. But this one's different. We came out of the blocks. We kept possession. We kept trying to find gaps to try and penetrate the defense. Obviously, it's Atletico, so that's hard to do. But we really took the game to them, and 1-0 really flattered them. It really did.
No, 100%, man. Shout out to Michael Onawuka. Hope I pronounced that right. It could be your day today. So if you're keen to just give out your, reactions, somewhere along the way, I'll figure it out with the boys when it could be the perfect time to do some fans reaction. Happy to have any fans. We've got almost 40 people, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have more throughout the streams. If you're keen today to come on for a minute or a couple of minutes just to give you a reaction, please DM any one of us. If you want to DM me, just get through to me. All my details, as you can see, are there in the screen. So reach out to me, and I may have some, of the fans from the live chat come in and do some reaction. But guys, let's get straight into this, as we have so much to talk about. Obviously, we can probably talk about all night long. But first of all, I just want to have a look at these guys. Straight from the Chelsea, admin page. Olivier Giroud. I mean, what a strike! We were talking about. I was talking about it with Jonathan. That he's probably the only one that is capable of hitting it like that from our team. I just also want to share another particular picture. I didn't see this one. How awesome does that look? One of those traditional style of pictures that they take before the match. It's brilliant. So that's the team. Guys, let's get straight into this lineup conversation. Everyone sort of gets cut out because we've got so many people today. But Jonathan, just have a quick look at the lineup. I'll go to you first up. What were your thoughts? I mean, this was my predicted lineup, by the way, from our preview. What was your thoughts looking at this lineup and the subs bench as well?
Yeah, completely understood why he played this. It was bar, I said sort of Kante for Kovacic. Is the lineup that we pretty much all expected. Giroud coming in for hold up, for link up play. So I was pretty happy with it. But Nishal, made a very good point on our last stream where he said, I think a lot of people read into lineups. We need to wait until the end of the game. I've always thought that, but I've never really publicised my thoughts. But I thought Nishal said that really well in the last stream. Because it can be quite reactionary. But I thought a lot of fans today would have been happy with that and understood that's the setup we were going to have. So yeah, I was pretty happy. I just was nervous that Jorginho or Kovacic were either both going to get booked or one was going to get booked and miss the next leg. Obviously, Jorginho has got booked and is going to miss the next leg.
Mason Mount misses as well.
Yeah, I think that's why he's brought Kovacic off as well towards the end of the game, because he doesn't want him to get booked as well, because then it would be a disaster. So yeah, it was a lineup which was more than capable of getting the job done, and boy, did it.
Yeah, absolutely. Nishal, your thoughts when you looked at this lineup?
Yeah, like Jonathan said, I'm not one who likes to be reactionary about a lineup and make these sort of assumptions, but I was happy with it. There wasn't anything I saw there where I had real complaints. Andreas Christensen had to come back in for me. I don't think Kurt Zouma performed well at all against Southampton. And while, without Thiago Silva, we were in a bad position anyway, but I trusted Christensen more. Again, midfield pivot, I was fine about. Would have been nice to see Conte, but I wanted to keep that. And Olivier Giroud was the main one, because he was someone I really wanted to see tonight, because like we said, we've got a hold-up play and his European pedigree as well. But I just felt that if there was ever a game that was most suited to Giroud, it was this one. Werner was going to start out wide anyway. Abraham, I think, if I'm being really honest, he would have been bullied by the defenders. But Giroud, this was his bread and butter. And I saw him, I was happy with that. And, I don't need to say why that got proven right. But as you said, the lineup, it worked out in the end. There's a reason for every player being picked. It was used well. Again, we've said this, maybe not the most outstanding and aesthetically pleasing lineup. You look at the bench, we had Kai Havertz, we had Tammy Abraham, so on and so forth. But it's a lineup that does the job. It's the 11 players that got the job done, did what we needed to do, and came away with a win, which at the end of the day was a priority. Whether it was a 1-0 tight game like today, 5-0 demolition, I did not care. We got the result with the team that we needed, and that's all I could ask for.
100% agree. Yusuf, biggest Nishal fan ever. Nishal being here makes the party better. Nishal, honestly, I love the way how you talked about the Olivier Giroud situation, how, Timo Werner up front, we will talk about the performances. Timo Werner up front, I think more and more we're starting to realize that's probably not his position. He's more of a left forward, left inside forward. And even then, sometimes his touch is questionable. Tammy Abraham, too many times I've seen he gets bullied by centre-backs, especially quality centre-backs, the likes of the ones that, Atletico Madrid have. So Olivier Giroud, 100% made sense to me in this particular match. Taryn, your thoughts about the lineup, my man?
Yeah, no, about the point of maybe not judging the lineup before the game as much as before. I think I'm going to start to do that. I think it's a bit natural to be reactionary when you see some players that you don't necessarily agree to be in the team. But from now on, with Tuchel's selections, I'm gonna trust 100%, because today I was proved right. Today I saw a lot of experience in this team to get past a really experienced Atletico team that's gone far in the Champions League. Last season they beat Liverpool at Anfield, and they have a lot of players from that team from last season. And we went with Jorginho, we went with Giroud, we went with Rudiger, Azpi, and these are all experienced players that know what it's like to win this competition. Maybe Giroud is more of a Europa League player in the past, but he's proven today that he's good enough to deal with Europe's best centre-backs. He's absolutely bullied Savic and Hermoso, all at centre-back. Like Nishal said, if that was Abraham, I probably wouldn't have been as confident with. Maybe his movement would have been better in behind to get on those to get on those chances when we've got past the last line. But with Giroud, he held up the play really well to maybe get rid of some of the pressure, just to launch up long when they're pressing us and we just need to get the ball. But Jorginho, I thought that he received some criticism today. I don't think that's called for. There was a few passes I saw where he could have played it in behind Hudson-Odoi, but I thought he controlled the game amazingly well in this game, and he played amazingly well. Rudiger, I thought, was absolutely superb, as he has been in the last few games. Sheffield United game was a bit of a blip, but apart from that, Rudiger has proved to a lot of the fans that he is going to be a key player in Tuchel's system. And
for
I
me,
thought
this guy was big.
Yeah.
For me, Christensen.
Yeah,
was
100%. Christensen's my man of the
immense.
match today. My man of the match. Dominated one of Europe's best strikers this season. 17 goals in the league, if I'm not mistaken, 16 or 17, and absolutely amazing. The lineup was superb in the end. A mix of experience and young players, and the subs were amazing as well. They helped control the game. Ziyech was good when he came on for a change today. He was good, and I'm sure you're happy about that. Ziyech was good, and he's superb. I'm so gassed today. I'm so gassed.
I could see it, bro. I could see it. Quick shout out to Taha Deb. Abraham would never score that. Look, this is nothing against Abraham. As I said, I was talking to Jonathan just before we went live. There's probably one player in our team, besides probably Alonso with his clutch goals. We've seen how he's hit him from far away. Besides Marcos Alonso, Giroud is probably the only one that in our team is scoring in that manner. The overhead kick and we've seen Giroud do some crazy stuff, for us and obviously previously for Arsenal as well. So there's no doubt that Abraham probably wouldn't have even attempted that. But as I said, no disrespect to Abraham. Quick shout out to Kishan Patel. Means you taking fans today, 100%, 53 online right now. Please smash that like button. Follow each and every one of us over here. Jonathan, Nishal, RS, Taryn. All the information's in the description right now. And if you're keen to join us today for some quick reaction, 1 minute, 2 minutes max, please reach out to any one of us on the DM and I will bring you on in this show with us. So guys, to RS, I want to hear your thoughts as well for this particular lineup. How do you feel when you saw this?
Seeing the lineup, I wasn't too disappointed. I was a bit disappointed that Pulisic didn't start. I really love Pulisic. I think I would have preferred to see him over Werner because we're versing Atletico and we all know they're gonna drop back. So I think you need someone that's like he will like be make more risky dribbles to be able to like penetrate their defense. And I think like Pulisic will have the element of surprise that Werner lacks, especially because of his touch and like. I don't think Werner would have had much opportunities in and around the box. So I think Pulisic would have been a better fit. Nonetheless, I think Werner was decent today. He ran in behind a couple of times. His runs weren't seen by Jorginho, which kind of annoyed me in the first half because Jorginho did make a bit of too many overhit passes, especially to Odoi on the right-hand side when he was making those runs. And I was also... I wasn't too keen on Odoi starting wing back this game because obviously Atletico are a big team. So I think maybe defensively he wouldn't be up to it, but he was superb today, going forward and going back. He put off Lamar in the first half when he ran in behind at the back.
That was so close. That was so close, that chance,
So that awareness shown by him was good, and I'm happy to see that. And especially after being dropped, taken off after 15 minutes against Southampton. Like, he really showed that he was up today.
No, 100% agreed. 100% agreed, man. Callum Hudson-Odoi, with all the criticism that he's had throughout this week and unnecessary talk about why did he get subbed off and been brought in and all the stuff that Thomas Tuchel had to say. I feel like Callum Hudson-Odoi had a very decent game, as you said, RS. Guys, let's get straight into these player performances. And as we go along with the player performances, obviously we're going to talk about the match and how it's sort of evolved. Jonathan, let's start from the back, my man. Mendy, I thought besides that one crazy sort of situation at the beginning, how the ball was passed from Azpilicueta to himself, that crazy touch. Besides that, he was quite okay-ish throughout the match. I don't know if he had to make any big sort of saves throughout the match. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember the whole match. But besides that issue, overall, he was quite commanding in the box, yeah?
Yeah, first sort of minute of the game, bad touch. Suarez is nearly in, nearly gave away a penalty. I don't know if he sort of pulled his leg out or whether Suarez was just trying to get around him to score. But yeah, there was one or two other times where he just looked a bit nervous and took a heavy touch. But I think a couple of times the defenders didn't give him the best of balls back. But yeah, otherwise there wasn't really much to do. There wasn't really loads of crosses for him to come and collect. There wasn't many shots for him to deal with. It was more just making sure that, when he did get the ball from the centre-backs, it was pushed out. To one of the right or left centre backs or through Christensen, and just to keep play going. So yeah, not too much to worry about for me. Yeah, one of his quieter nights. I'm sure he expected a tougher night.
No, 100%. He probably did expect a tougher night. It was pretty strange to see how deep Atletico was sitting all the time. Nishal, let's now talk about the other parts of the defense. Azpilicueta, I thought had a pretty decent game as well. Marshaled the backline well, captained the team well. I don't think he really had any mistakes. And to be honest, Atletico didn't push us that much. They were really looking for the counters, and whenever the counters were there, Azpilicueta was always ready and in check and kept Thomas Lemar in the side. So, how do you feel about his performance?
I was impressed by Azpilicueta. I think he put in a good shift. And he also always had that support on that right-hand side. He was never necessarily isolated and having to face Thomas Lemar one-on-one, because Callum Hudson-Odoi is always tracking back and covering. And that's something I'll give credit to Hudson-Odoi. Someone will touch on that, but he did really well defensively, as always. But Azpilicueta really impressive in defence, holding the back three together, and especially when we're missing Thiago Silva. And the onus is really on just one player and our sole captain. He really stepped up. He led by example. He was very important in communicating and pushing us forward. And yeah, like you said, he didn't put a foot wrong. And I was really happy with Azpi today.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of people wanted to see a Reece James season. And we all do. He is the future. I think we sometimes forget how important Azpilicueta's presence is as a captain in our team. And we're seeing the fruits of it in this Thomas Tuchel era, in this short sort of time frame. Let's now talk about Andreas Christensen. We're all going to talk about it. Every single one of you guys will get a chance to talk about Andreas Christensen here because he's been so fantastic. I'll start with you, Taryn. Taryn, for me, there's been so much criticism about Andreas Christensen. I myself as well have criticized Andreas Christensen previously. But since Thiago Silva has been injured, and I don't really understand why he didn't even play against Southampton, he really should have. I think he's got the capabilities of playing back-to-back matches. If Azpilicueta can and Rudiger can, I'm pretty sure Andreas Christensen can as well. So how do you see that performance from Christensen?
For me, I thought he was absolutely world class in this game, and I'm using the words world class. I thought he pocketed Luis Suarez, as I mentioned before, and proved a lot of fans wrong, including me, including you, Miz. I'm sure everyone has doubted Christensen that he does have the abilities to defend against Europe's best strikers. In that role in the middle of the back three, I think that's perfect for Christensen. He can use his intelligence to control the back three, and to use his, maybe in a back two he isn't as good. Maybe a Rudiger and Silva are better for that position. But in the back three, I think Christensen looks like an animal. He looks like a different player. Today, I thought that he read the runs of Suarez really well, because he can get in behind. We saw against Van Dijk a few years ago when Barcelona v Liverpool. He got in behind Van Dijk. He was arguably one of the best defenders in the league at the time. He got in behind him. But Christensen just read all the runs in behind. He eliminated the throw of Joao Felix as well when he was coming into the middle. But I have too many words of praise for Christensen tonight. I thought he was just amazing in that defence. He was superb. He was a gladiator. I thought he was amazing. And as I said in the past, I've had criticism for him. That West Ham game, I thought he got dominated by Antonio a lot when he was maybe 1-on-1 against him. But in this system, we see that he has more support from Azpi and Rudiger. They're almost together and doubling up on different strikers. And it does suit him in that position rather than being 1-on-1 with a more physical striker. But nonetheless, I thought he was superb. When he had chances 1-on-1 with Suarez, I thought when he was backing into him, I thought that he was reading it. There was a chance where I think it was Lemar who got in. He played it back to Suarez and Christensen blocked it, gone behind. And on another day, if it was a different defender, a little bit slow to the ball, it could have gone bottom corner. But I thought he was our star performer tonight. And without him, if it was Zuma today, I'm not 100% sure that, although he is more physical, with Zuma, we have seen that he has a lack of concentration in the back three. And in that position, if you lose concentration for half a second, then as we saw, Minamino just running behind with so much space to get behind. But yeah, Christensen absolutely world class in his performance. And if he can continue how he's playing, if Silva's still out for the Man United game and he dominates Martial and Rashford, then what do we see from now on with Christensen? Because this was an absolutely world class performance, and if he can displace Thiago Silva, and we don't need to go out and buy your likes of Zula, your likes of Boateng, your likes of Alaba, and we can just keep that academy player. No, I'm just going to the future. If he can dominate the Man United strikers and calm down, then yeah, we've seen the Christensen in the Antonio Conte season. He was arguably our best player, one of our best players in that season, bar maybe Eden Hazard and Kante. I thought that he was one of our best players, and yeah, with Christensen, if he can keep his performances up in these big games with a really, really tough run coming in, Man United, Everton, Leeds, Liverpool away, then what are we going to see with Christensen? Because, again, he proved tonight that he's superb.
No, man, I can't lie that he's been brilliant. It does pose a question what happens when Silva gets fit. It's very, very, I feel like it's not nice to let go of someone like Christensen. But yeah, I do resonate with Michael here when Taryn was saying we don't need to go out there and get more defenders. Just relax, yeah? We'll talk about the whole Christensen situation even more, but I want to bring in our first guest from the fan chat just to get their live reaction. Kishan, my man, how you doing? How you feeling? Tell us about your reaction, my man.
Yeah, well, good. Thanks for having me, Miz. And hello, guys. But yeah, I don't know if I've celebrated a goal that much in like years. I think the last time was probably Europa League final, and it was like the most typical Giroud goal as well. Like,
can you show us exactly how you celebrated? Just do a couple of dance moves, just quickly.
I think the thing is, I think the VAR really added to it as well, because like at one point we just thought it wasn't a goal. So for 2 minutes, there was a bit of me that thought it might be, but like it added to it, and then when they actually gave it, I just went crazy.
No, absolutely, man. That goal obviously made all of us crazy. But yeah, man, Kishan, thank you so much for joining and giving us your reaction. Really appreciate this, and maybe down the track we could actually have you in the show for a proper show. But yeah, thank you heaps for your reaction, man.
Thank you.
Go ahead and enjoy the rest of the night wherever you are, and we'll see you soon. Thank you heaps.
Great show. Thank you.
Guys, yeah, do sort of reach out to any one of us. If you want to reach out to me on my DM, if you want to join today for a live reaction, just reach out. As I said, you've got my socials there. Probably reach out to me on Twitter DM, because I probably won't be checking all the other stuff. But yeah, guys, moving on to the whole Andreas Christensen conversation. I'll go to RS now. RS, as I was saying, I mean, with Silva being fit, do you sort of see Christensen just getting removed, or does he have a shout out for maybe in the Rudiger spot? I can't really see how he takes Azpilicueta's spot. It'll be very harsh on Rudiger as well. Rudiger's been very good, but what's your thoughts about just Christensen just getting out of it, I suppose, with Silva being back?
I think Christensen has been good this game, but obviously, sorry, I just pinned my camera on. But obviously, I've been really critical of Christensen in the past. I think he gets bullied by strikers too much. I wanted him to be sold, especially after that Aston Villa game when he completely made us concede a goal. Yeah, so I've been critical of Christensen. I know that he's good on the ball. He looks all nice on the ball. He has good reading of the game, but against those Burnleys, Southamptons, teams are gonna be physical and really lay it on us. I was thinking, can he really handle it? I think he lacked the physical edge to his game, but Atletico Madrid, there's no other team in Europe that you can show you can handle the physicality, and he really did that today. And I think he should also start against Man United. If we're playing a 5 at the back again, it can be Thiago Silva, Christensen, and Azpi as the back three. I wouldn't mind that. So and he can really learn off Thiago Silva as well, because Thiago, they are kind of similar type of players, the way they read the game and are good on the ball. So he can really learn from him and then push his game on as well.
Yeah, man, it's a very, very tricky situation. I want to know what Jonathan has to say, and also Nishal. Jonathan, Christensen, as Taryn said, in a back three is very good, especially in the middle. Obviously, Thiago Silva probably going to be back against Man United. I don't know if you can drop Andreas Christensen, can you?
It's interesting because we've got quite a lot of centre-backs that are good secondary centre-backs. In a three, obviously, you can play as a secondary centre-back. Like Rudiger, I don't think he's great without a leader like Silva next to him. But in a three, he's different. Christensen, like David Luiz, is good in a three. That ball-playing centre-back in the middle, he's normally the spare man, able to put the ball forward. Yeah, I think it would be harsh to drop him, but Rudiger's also been quite good as well. Azpilicueta has been good. So it's harsh to drop any of them, really. But the problem is Silva walks back into our team. He is the leader. He is our best defender. And if he's fit and available to play, you have to play him, especially in a massive game like Man United. So it'll be tough. And I mean, in the future, if, Christian's still around and he's still, putting the performances in, him next to Silva wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because you've got a leader, someone next to him who's able to talk to him. We haven't seen that combination in a back four. So, Christensen, if he continues at this rate, he's got to keep putting the performances in. He's got to keep being physical. And I've said this about 3-4 weeks ago. I said he stepped it up physically. He has been a lot better. And obviously with his ball playing, been a load better. So, he's going in the right direction. But I'm just hesitant to be I don't want to go Taron kind of phrase. I'm going to be.
Taron doesn't want to butt any defenders.
No, I get why. I get why. I've been impressed with him recently as well. I just don't want to get too overconfident because we've talked about how good Zuma was last season and this season. He comes in and has a couple of shaky games. I know it's hard to come in from the cold and suddenly play a game against Southampton who've got runners in behind. But I don't want to get too carried away. He's doing well. And it'll be very, very interesting to see what he does because I hope Silva will be fit for the Man United game because it's the first game we've had of this really tricky run and job done really in terms of the defence because we were solid, we kept the clean sheet, we never really had any problems. So, to add in Silva to that, perfect.
Brilliant, isn't it? I mean, it's looking good. Nishal, just continuing on with the whole Christensen topic here because he was immense. I do like what Jonathan said. If we were to switch to a back four now, the combination of Silva and Christensen, do you fancy that?
I mean, I wouldn't mind trying it. It's definitely one we could work together. And I was waiting for Jonathan's ball playing defender comment. We get it every week, and he's bang on every time because it's so important in a modern team and in a Chelsea team. So that's what a little smile when he mentioned that. With Christensen, I mean, what can I say? Fantastic performance today. Excellent. And I'm really happy to see that because he's been a player who's not had an easy few years. He's not been a first-choice centre-back since Conte, and that's 3 years ago. He struggled to get into the team. He's been criticised by John Terry, of all people, by managers, by lots of players. He was sent off against Liverpool at the start of the season. We've seen the mistakes like getting injured against Aston Villa, not getting up, and getting criticised. So it's not been easy for him, but the thing with Christensen is we see the great parts of his game so often and we see what he's capable of, but then we also see these moments, the moment of rashness when he got sent off against Liverpool, the moment of, I don't know what you want to call the Aston Villa incident, but that. Yeah. And we see these different sides of his games. And maybe if I'm being critical, maybe that's why we've not seen him solidify his place in the Chelsea defence since John Terry moved on. But that doesn't mean the door's closed. Taron's speaking about going out and buying defenders. And the main idea for me is when Thiago Silva moves on, which will be in the next year or so, do we buy someone else or do we trust the players we have? Christensen, can he step up into Thiago Silva's boots? From what we've seen in the recent few weeks, Thiago Silva injured, undoubtedly our key defender. We see how he's changed us. To see Andreas Christensen step up, with scepticism, admittedly from me as well, and see him step into that defence so naturally, so calmly, and really bring us together and keep us going. He deserves so much credit for that. And we look at, as you mentioned earlier in the stream, why didn't he play against Southampton? And I remember Tuchel spoke about it in his pre-match press conference saying that he wasn't too sure if Thiago would be ready or not. And I completely get that. Right. And I respect that. And I think that was the right decision to keep Christensen fresh for today, because this was the game he needed to play and improve himself. He's played against Lionel Messi in the past, and against Luis Suarez today, absolutely outstanding. So this could be the game where he's really proved himself on Tuchel, where Tuchel will start thinking, okay, maybe I can give him more of a chance. Tomori's out on loan. Unfortunately, looks like he may go permanently. Thiago Silva, I've only got another year or so out of him. And Antonio Rudiger is also entering the twilight of his career very soon. So could Andreas Christensen be a long-term option In my opinion, yes, if he keeps going like this, if he keeps up at this level and he stays consistent, he is capable of starting for Chelsea. But if we see more of what we saw today, I have no doubts that Christensen can succeed long-term at Chelsea.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Christensen deserves all the praise, and I think each and every one of us has given that praise. I do want to see how this develops under Thomas Tuchel. Obviously, under Frank Lampard, Christensen was a bit shaky. And, it could just be that a change of manager, a different belief, could get the best out of a particular player like Andreas Christensen. Patrick, I will address this particular question. We will talk about this, the whole false nine situation with Kai Havertz. So stick around for that. Shout out to 113 people that are live right now. Smash that like button. And if you do want to join, as I said, today is the day. It's, as you can see, the joy in each and every one of us. So if you want to join us, DM me, DM any one of us, reach out to us, and I'm happy to bring any one of you guys on for a reaction for couple of minutes. So yeah, do reach out. Guys, I'll take the Rudiger. Rudiger for me was very, very good, solid. There were one or two moments where I think in the first half, where he was sort of beaten. I can't remember. I think it was Lorente that sort of went around him. But besides that, overall, honestly, Rudiger was solid. And to be honest, under Thomas Tuchel, Rudiger has been predominantly solid in that left sort of centre-back position. I don't think he's made any sort of monumental mistakes, bar that own goal, really. Besides that, he's been quite good. So it does throw up a very good debate now. What happens when Silva comes in? Obviously, when Silva's fit, he'll definitely come in and slot in as the middle centre-back. Now there's a good competition between Christensen and Rudiger. And you want that in the team, the healthy competition to happen. And I just hope that Zuma gets into the mix as well, because Zuma's performance against Southampton, the way they sort of fell asleep in the back alongside Azpilicueta, I suppose. But Zuma, for me, I felt was the biggest culprit there. So I hope everyone sort of just wakens up. There is a lot to play still in the season. Top four still up for grabs, and obviously the second leg. But Rudiger for me was very, very good. Let's now move to Taron. Taron, my boy, Marcos Alonso, left wing back. I don't know where to start with Marcos Alonso. For me, first half wasn't so good at all. Everything was slow. He had that opportunity where he took that shot from long range. I just thought that maybe that'll go in. That's just Marcos Alonso for you. It's just crazy like that. He'll bang the goal like that. But second half for me, he wasn't bad, Marcos Alonso. I thought he showed a lot more hustle, a lot more speed, better in defense as well. It looked like he came alive in the second half. How do you sort of assess his game, Marcos Alonso? There was a comment here. Someone said that Marcos Alonso was immense in that game. Biggest Marcos Alonso fan, probably. I wouldn't say immense, but I think it was okay. Taron, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think immense is a bit of an overstatement probably for Alonso today, but there's something about Alonso in that left wing. That's the one. Yeah. There's something about him in that left wing back position that just suits. He doesn't really offer much going forward. I think that Ben Chilwell obviously has more pace to get him behind, but in that position, Alonso just seems to know all the places where to be, whether he's going forward or coming back. He made a really good defensive clearance in the first half, where the right wing back for Atletico Madrid could have scored, and Alonso was in the right position at all times. We were talking about in the last stream that maybe Ziyech could play there as a left wing back with Jonathan, but if Ziyech was there or Chilwell, was he going to head that away in the last minute and stop us from conceding? But yeah, I think that Alonso holds his position really well, and he does help the team flourish. We don't really see many attacks go down the left-hand side, but when they do, I think that he is a tiny bit slow, not too slow, but a tiny bit slow. He just seems to slow it down. I prefer a Chilwell in that position to maybe play 1-2 with Werner and use their pace. But with Alonso, you seem to always ask him about Alonso, but he doesn't really do much in the game. So, but yeah, in this game today, he proved again that he's probably our best player in the left wing back position. I think that he's not the same Marcos Alonso from the 16 to 17 season. We all know that, but I kind of see it as just a makeshift position while Tuchel's playing this three at the back. When he probably changed it to a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, I think that we'll see Chilwell a lot more. As same with Rudiger or Christensen, maybe will drop out for another player. But yeah, Alonso is just always solid in this team. I don't know what he really does, but he's just solid. I don't know how to explain it, but Alonso is always in the right places and never doing anything that's really angering me. The shot in the first half, I thought it was a decent shot. When I saw the replay, I was like, oh, okay, it wasn't the greatest shot in the world. But yeah, Alonso, he's 29 now, I'm pretty sure, and probably not going to see much more of him next season in a Chelsea shirt. But Yeah,
30.
I think he's 29. 30, that's 30, yeah.
It's just an enigma, man. Absolute
Exactly.
enigma. Just
After the West
unbelievable.
Brom situation on the bus, I thought that I would never see Alonso in a shirt again. But he's come back and he's proved us wrong for the time being. Touch wood somewhere that he's not going to produce a disaster class in the near future and just pass it to Callum Robinson. But right now, Alonso is doing a good job in this team, and I'm happy with him to stay in. Obviously, I prefer Chilwell as he's our 50 million Ashley Cole dub signing, and I really rate Chilwell this season. He was arguably the left back of the Premier League. I won the signings of the season before he kind of had a little bit of dip in form and out of the team a little bit. But yeah, I don't have anything to fault with Alonso today. He wasn't immense, he wasn't bad, but he's doing everything right. And Tuchel seems to like him, so I'm happy with, and I trust Tuchel. I'm happy for Alonso to stay in the team.
Yeah, man. AD, shout out to AD. This guy must be the biggest Alonso fan out there. Good crosses and don't remember losing the ball. You know what? If you're game AD, I want you to come onto this stream and just let us know about Alonso, how you feel about Alonso. Hopefully, down the track, we can snip that out and I can sort of tag Alonso. I'm sure Alonso will be very, very proud to hear that. So if you're keen, reach out to me on Twitter DM because, it would be great to hear from you how you feel about Alonso. But yeah, it is interesting, Taryn. I did say... tweeted about Chilwell just before the game that not many people are talking about Chilwell, which is a bit strange that, he was our big money signing. And with this particular formation, it is very difficult because Alonso is absolutely favored in the left wing back position. As you said, Taryn, for some reason, Alonso understands that position so well. He doesn't understand left back. He doesn't understand anything else, but left wing back, he gets it to the T. Yeah. RS, I want to now talk to you about Callum Hudson-Odoi. You did mention that he had a very, very good game. Obviously, a lot of talk about Callum Hudson-Odoi throughout the week with the substitutions and Thomas Tuchel, being questioned as well. How do you think about his overall game? I mean, there were a couple of times where he got into dangerous positions, gets to the byline, but I think that final sort of issue, which we will all talk about, has sort of let him down and others as well. But move in the right direction, yeah?
Yeah. I think it's a move in a right direction for Odoi, especially after the kind of embarrassment of Gen taken off after he gets subbed on. So it shows his mentality to come back and jump straight into a big game in an unfamiliar position to him that he's only played probably a couple times in his career. So it shows his mentality that he's willing to do that for the team and step up in a big European night and perform well. And I like the way that we played the attacks towards the right-hand side. So you saw a lot of link up between Mount and Odoi. We didn't really play to Alonso's side, which I think was a positive because we're not playing from the right-hand side. We can literally cross it in and then Alonso could arrive from the back to cause havoc in the box, which I think is Alonso's strength because in the Southampton game, I didn't like the way we used Alonso. I think that was more of a game for Chilwell because we created space for Alonso on the left and then we applied through balls for him, but his pace wasn't enough. I think when you're using Alonso, he's good going forward, but not in the sense where he can run with the ball and gonna run past two defenders. He's good at arriving late into the box and like just attacking from set pieces and whatnot and like crosses. That's what I think is Alonso's strength. Nonetheless, though, I think Cho was great today, and I think him being at right wing back isn't his main position for the long term, but I think it's an alternative to Reece James because Reece James has been pretty poor, in my opinion, the last couple of games. I think his final ball has been terrible, like especially Southampton. He really pissed me off against Southampton. Oh my gosh, like Werner will be making runs in behind and he will literally just like, let me go back. Like it was really annoying. And I love Reece James. He's a great player, but I think he's more suited to full back and maybe in the future he can go into midfield. But I think Cho's directness, skill, he's more accustomed to the wing back role than James is, in my opinion. So yeah.
No, 100%, man. Cho come back into the right wing back position was exactly what all of us wanted. And I think it just suits in this formation, Callum Hudson-Odoi in that side, as we are so lopsided on the right side and attacking from the right, creating that overload. Perfect for Callum Hudson-Odoi. And he's one-on-one abilities is so important for us in that side. So for me, it was a decent game from Callum Hudson-Odoi, and we can forget about the whole Southampton situation and move on. Hopefully, from here on, if he is brought on from the subs bench, which has been Thomas Tuchel's biggest issue, that every time he starts Callum Hudson-Odoi, he's done well, but when he's brought him on from the subs, he hasn't always looked great. So that would be his next challenge: is how to impact games off the bench. Jonathan, let's talk about Kovacic and Jorginho as a package in the middle, because I feel like so many fans out there were saying, oh, wait till we play a bigger team. Wait till we play someone decent to see how exactly these players can play. I knew from the get-go that these players, under the way Tuchel is playing in terms of the possession-based football, that they were very comfortable and they can do a job against some of the bigger teams. Probably they'll come up, if they come up, I'm sure they'll probably come up against Man City down the track in the Premier League, and they'll probably be the one big team that will create massive havoc to that double six. But overall, Jonathan, how, not just the chemistry, but technically, how well is that double six drill?
Really well. It's the best pivot under Tuchel, definitely, for sure. And I get why he didn't play Kante as much as I wanted him to play, able to kind of get in the spaces that they may occupy. In this system, it works. I mean, Atletico did sit back today and they didn't push up. And I was quite disappointed, actually, with Joao Felix, because he didn't occupy the space in between the lines. He didn't turn Jorginho and Kovacic, didn't cause them too many problems. But we controlled the game, and that was a big part of the pivot. The way our defence, Jorginho was linking. Yes, in the first half, the intensity of his passing wasn't there. He overhit a few, and I saw a lot of criticism on Twitter. I thought second half he was better. He was a bit more direct. But I feel like as a team, we just built up quite similarly throughout the entire game. We kind of moved it from side to side, slowly out to the right, side to side, back to the left, instead of just switching it quickly, which even the BT Sport commentators picked up on as well. That was the only thing that lacked a little bit from me from the pivot. But, Nishal was talking about, my favourite phrase, ball playing defender. Everyone on Twitter's favourite phrase is press resistant. Kovacic didn't show as much of that today. The way he turns and just drives away. He didn't get the opportunity to do that very often. But it's because they didn't press high up and they sat back so much. And as I said, they didn't have a number 10 in and around them, causing them problems. And even when then Kante came on, he did push us up a little bit more. He did try and make interceptions. But no, that pivot was really good. And we are going to miss it in the second leg. I mean, I'm just reading Tuchel's comments now, and Maldini's middle fingers highlighted them as well. It's a courtesy of Nazar Cancella, and one day Nishal will be bigger than this guy, as much as Nazar is fantastic.
100%
Nishal
will be.
is on the trajectory. So he said, obviously, we're missing two crucial players, which is going to be difficult. He's happy with the performance of everyone, including Mason. He even talked about, the performance and saying, we missed, back from the Southampton performance, because I was criticised a bit when I said he made some mistakes. He said, I was not happy with my game decisions in Southampton. Maybe we missed a chance to bring in Giroud on that day. So he made sure that he started today. And I said, I think he's learned from that Southampton game. And he's a sort of manager that will learn. And this is such a big statement win tonight to go. And as I said earlier, in our first big game of this run, to go and get the win with that pivot, his preferred team, his preferred system, must be a big, big confidence boost.
Oh, for sure, Jonathan. Must be a huge confidence boost. As you said, he made changes from the Southampton team. That was the predicted team for most of us. So he's done what, all of us knew what was the best for the team. And at the end, we persevered and we got that victory. And overall, we didn't look like we were in massive trouble, bar the one or two really scary moments here and there, but we negated them. Nishal, I want to now talk to you about the two 10s, Werner and Mason Mount. Contrasting players. I feel, throughout that match, Nishal, and I want to really talk about this, get everyone's view as well. The final third product from both of these players, there are certain times Mason goes into the byline or he finds a really good clinical pass. There was that one cross in the first half where Mason zoomed it in across, and I think Timo Werner was there, couldn't get that connection to get the goal. There was also other times where Mason was in the box. I remember Alonso dinked in a nice cross and Mason was in the box and he volleyed it over the top. And there were a few other chances where Werner, his passing, his first touches, Mount with his vision sometimes and his decision-making. I feel both of these players, they're good in instances, but then they're also, they don't have that clinicalness about them. How do you see that match? And also, just their overall attributes as they have as individuals.
I agree with your criticisms, they're completely valid. But the thing we have to remember is both of them are actually being played out of position. We look at these positions as attacking 10s or wingers, kind of in between them. Timo Werner's a striker, Mason Mount's an attacking midfielder, or an 8, whatever you want to call it. So both of them are going to have to adapt and change their game to fit into that position. I think in a way they've had to move and change themselves to fit into Tuchel's new system. They've done well. I don't think Mason Mount started well. It was a kind of rash booking, and now it's a massive loss for the second leg. Not happy about it at all. And, it's not like Mason at all, but he played well. He put in a good performance. A few moments where we thought, got to be careful there. But, he did well. He was in between the gaps, driving forward. Maybe couldn't get involved as much as he could have or wanted to usually. With Atletico's low block, there's less space, less opportunities, and less place to penetrate in that side. But, I was happy with his performance. Timo Werner as well, he was really positive at times, had some great runs through the defence. Unlucky not to get a few decisions in his way, whether it was shots or, fouls or whatever. But, I think you have to remember with both of them and any player in this Chelsea system, but while they're playing well and we're happy with what we're seeing from them in that position, a lot of players have been played out of position, or not out of position, but in their less favoured position. Azpilicueta is playing as a centre-back. Callum Hudson-Odoi is playing as a wing-back. Timo Werner is playing as a left winger. Can we all play in those positions? Yes, absolutely. And they're doing well there. But we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's the same way if you put, like the earlier comment we saw, if we put Kai Havertz as a false 9. I have no doubts that he could do a job there and he could play well there. But he's a natural 10. And that's where we're going to see the best of him. If we have Mason Mount, who's a natural 8, a gifted midfielder, box to box, and we're playing him as a 10, he will still do a job, he will still perform, but we're not going to see the Mason Mount that we're expecting when we see him as an 8, because for every tactical position, every tactical system, you're going to see something different. And that's what we have to get used to with Tuchel. He's a very tactically flexible manager, and that's what we're going to need in our players, to be able to play left wing or right wing back or centre back or goalkeeper, for all I care. But it's something we're going to have to get used to, seeing players play our position.
Yeah, I just wanted to disagree on you about that, Nishal. I think Mason Mount as a 10, where he's been playing recently, I think he's been pretty effective there, more effective than he was playing previously under Lampard. He gets into more goal scoring opportunities, way more than before. He's been scoring recently. He's been creating recently. I think he's enjoying it more. He even said after, I think it was the Spurs game, that he likes the position he's playing in. I think he's more effective in the position he's playing in. But I agree that, Hudson-Odoi is playing out of position. But as opposed to Mason Mount, I think he's more dangerous because he can roam in those little half spaces, receive the ball, turn, look for options going forward. And Timo Werner, he's not really playing as a left winger. He's playing as a left forward. So he's pretty close to the striker, and he's kind of playing in that inside left pocket. So it's kind of similar how he played in Leipzig when he was playing a bit off to the left next to Paulsen. And Giroud is that target man striker, kind of similar to Paulsen as well. So in regards to that, I disagree. But yeah, I think Mount is a flexible player. He can play 8, he can play that position, and he can play as a number 10. So I think the best of Mason Mount is still to come. We didn't really see. I think we as fans, we kind of think, because Lampard was playing Mason Mount so much, that's the type of player he is. No, I think Tuchel's gonna get the best out of Mason Mount, and we're gonna really see Mason Mount get more goals, more assists in the near future. It's just in the more games to come. We have so much games to play in the rest of the season. The season's not over. I think the best of Mason is still to come.
I think this comment here is quite important as well. Playing out of position doesn't change your decision making. I think completely understand what you're saying, Nishal, in terms of perhaps maybe not always. I do tend to agree a little bit with RS that I think Mason, where he plays in that half space, is more or less as an attacking 8 anyway. He just gets into good positions. I think the decision making is where there's a bit of an issue with both Mason and Timo Werner. I think predominantly Mason, every now and then he does make some really, really good decisions and puts in those passes. As we said, in this particular match, there's been quite a few instances where he's made some really good passes. It's just the consistency, which kind of sometimes bothers me. And this is not having a go at Mason and Werner. I'm just simply saying that this is where they should try and get much better as the games are coming along. I'll go to Taryn now. Taryn, Timo Werner, just going away from the Mason Mount situation a little bit, Timo Werner as well similarly has the same issues where there were instances in this match where I felt like he just needs to lift his head up and look for options. If he can't take a player on, look for the pass. There were a few times where he just went in and there was a cracking shot with his left foot. I mean, sometimes I feel like try doing something different. You do have that in your locker to just stop and use your sort of awareness and your body ability to go with your right at times. But he just flows with his pace. He just can't seem to slow his pace down. Do you feel that as well, that with Timo Werner, that he just needs to at times just relax himself?
Yeah, to some extent I agree with that, because with Werner, we know this position is suited to him perfectly. As RS said, at Leipzig, he was playing off a striker like Poulsen as a target man. But with Werner, we've seen that he tends to go on the outside a little bit more. But there's some instances where if he was in more confidence and he was bagging in goals every week, he'd just cut inside and just curl it top bins. We know Werner has in his locker. The offside goal against Spurs proved that he does have that. But some instances it hasn't come into fruition this season. But with Werner recently, we've seen that he's been more effective in the final third, I thought, than under Lampard as a left winger. As a left wing back, he has less defensive responsibilities to kind of cover the right back going forward. That's more of Alonso's job now. So Werner just kind of stays on the last man. But I do feel like Werner could be more effective in the final third. I really do. I hope he can in the future, because sometimes he receives the ball and he just tends to give it away silly with a bad touch or just some bad decision making. But yeah, with Werner, if he can just take his time on the ball and realise that he has a lot more time than he needs, maybe if he needs a shout from Giroud to say just time on the ball, then he can just dribble and use his pace. Against Newcastle earlier in the season, it was a fine example. If he can pick up the ball in a little bit of space and just drive, the pass to Tammy was perfect. He does have in his locker that he can play a really perfect, inch-perfect pass and time all of his runs. But yeah, his misses early in the season could have contributed to a fact that maybe he's a little bit conscious in the final third, a bit scared not to lose the ball. And under Tuchel, we've seen that his the decision making from the players is maybe to be more conservative and to kind of pass the ball around with us rather than taking a risk. But it will come later on where the players are much more confident getting goals, getting wins, that will see more risk taken in the final third by Werner, and we'll see more chances. We haven't seen many huge chances as we've seen from Lampard, like the miss against Fulham, some other big chances against Leeds. We haven't really seen him in the final third getting easy one-on-ones, which I really want to see, because Werner's strong point is going off the last man, maybe off a target man, running in behind, rounding the keeper, scoring any finish that he can score. We've seen at Leipzig last season that we paid the big bucks for this guy because we were lacking last season with our goals. We were losing big opportunities against low blocks. We were struggling. We were expecting Werner to be the guy that he falls to him and he's on the end of attacks, not maybe in the build-up. But in this team, we do see in the Premier League, I've talked about this with Marius Fisher, that there's a lot more low blocks. And in the Premier League, every team's kind of more erratic to just kind of play a high line. That's where Werner maybe struggled. He needs to adapt in a league where there's more walls in front of him. He needs to play in front of he needs to play with his back to goal. And it will come later on. But with Werner, I feel like if he can be more confident and get more chemistry with Mount, because we haven't really seen him linking up in the final third. We've seen him with the likes of Ziyech and Abraham, where I think his chemistry with Abraham is superb. If he can get his chemistry with Mount and Giroud perfect, then we've got a really top striker who next season could fill the potential that we hope he can and get 20 or so goals in the league. That's a bit confident. Sorry, I'm not tired from AFTV, a bit overconfident, but I hope that he can get some goals and kind of get 20 or so goals next season. And because I really believe in him, as you know, Miz, I'm a Timo Werner fanboy. I might change my Twitter name to Timo Werner Prop something. But yeah, I really back Werner, and yeah, I think he's a superb player, but he needs to sort that out in the final third.
No, for sure. We'll talk about Olivier Giroud. Obviously, he's the talk of the town. But I just want to quickly touch base with Jonathan, get his point of view as well on this. Jonathan, in regards to the final third, this is something that's been a problem, not just the Frank Lampard era. Now we're seeing that in Tuchel era. We're not scoring enough goals. No, obviously today, Olivier Giroud with an absolute wonder goal, and only he could possibly score like that. But we get into good positions, we get into the byline, but then there's zero product at the end of it. How do we possibly solve this? I mean, these players are good enough to do it.
Yeah, I said it earlier in the stream, as well as we played, would we have scored from open play without that goal? Maybe not, because we're just not clinical enough. We don't commit enough players forward. We don't get enough players in the box. There's quite a good comment earlier on saying about Timo's got in good positions, put balls in the box. Sometimes he doesn't look up. Sometimes there was part in the second half where he took a shot. Okay, we won the corner, but instead of waiting, taking a touch, waiting for someone to come to the box, he took a shot.
Exactly.
Maybe could have just, waited for people to get in and just keep his head up and stop being, to be so, I wouldn't say overzealous, just too eager to play the ball. Step on the ball, hold it up and let players get in the box, because at times it was just Giroud on his own and he so often tried to play others in. And I mean, I actually went in the chat and to ask Taron a question to say, do you think Werner and Mount could have got closer? Here's me listening to you guys typing along. Getting involved in the live chat. Now, I was going to say, could he have got closer to them today? And I think both of them could have. I thought Mount was good in the sense that he did try to get forward and he was on the ball quite a lot. But that's one thing I think we missed out. Werner and Mount didn't get enough around him. And so often he won the ball and headed it on or headed it backwards, sideways. And when we did get players up to near Giroud, it worked out and we got up the pitch. So, I didn't feel like we utilised Giroud enough, and he had one big chance in the game, and he scored it. So I feel we are lacking that cutting edge. We are obviously lacking goals in an away game like this. In European game though, it was a perfect performance, and you don't have to be taking 20 shots. You just need to get that one away goal, which is exactly what we've got. So look, as I said earlier, first tough game, we've come away with it with a victory. We've now got Man United at the weekend at home, so I think the impetus is going to be a little bit more on us. The way that United play is going to be difficult. But again, Atletico Madrid's weakness today, in my opinion, was their defence. I know at times they had like a 6 at the back because until they went a goal behind and they switched it up, they were just insistent on sitting in and you're not going to score against us. Man United's defence, again, is their weakness, in my opinion. And, you look at Maguire the last 100%. Few games, he is going to give away a penalty via VAR soon. If he doesn't, in the Chelsea game, it will be very soon, because
if he doesn't give away and we don't get a penalty off the back of what Harry Maguire does, because he's been getting away.
It's another perfect game for Giroud, in my opinion. You can't drop him now. He's turned up on so many key European nights for Chelsea. Earlier in the season, he scored that really important goal away to Lille, a goal I wouldn't say anyone else in our squad would have scored, the hat-trick at Sevilla. And now tonight, reward him with a goal. Don't make the same mistake as you did against Southampton. Nothing against our other strikers, but Giroud is a guy that we can rely on in the big games. And with our system, we need to let the ball stick a bit more up top. So let Giroud have his time, get the players a little bit closer to him. And, before we start talking about it, and, we will get onto that just at the end of the stream, but the solution for the second leg, because we've got Jorginho missing, go through in midfield. Kante, Kovacic, Gilmour. That's the solution for me.
I want to see Gilmour. Yeah.
Now, we will definitely talk about that. Obviously, that's a massive talking about. We will talk about that. Shout out to 169, almost 170. Well, 170 people that are on right now. Please smash that like button. Follow every single one of my panelists. Let's talk about Olivier Giroud. Let's start with RS quickly and let's do the rounds. Olivier Giroud, for me, this guy, as Jonathan said, has stepped up so many times for us in big European nights. Once again, he does the job. That particular strike, only Giroud is capable of. What I do want to see, if there was a slight little bit of criticism, I do want to see him, as Jonathan said in one of his comment to Taron, I do want to see him more link up with Mount and Werner. There was that one time where I think he linked up with Kovacic and we pretty much opened them up in the first half. Just didn't have the final product right at the end once again. But Giroud was involved there with quick 1-2 passing. I want to see a lot more of that because I feel like that attribute of him is so underrated and that will open up these low blocks even more. RS, from your perspective, how'd you feel Giroud went? I think
Giroud is a fantastic player that he's just so crucial. Like, you just need a player like Giroud in your squad. He's a secret weapon. Like, maybe he's not the player that you rely on for 38 games in a season, but when you need him, he's gonna deliver the goods. I think the only two people that in the squad that I think you can always count on is Azpi and Giroud. Like, I don't think they will ever let you down in a big game, and that's what we lack in this squad. There's too many players in this squad that the fan base are a bit iffy on. Sometimes they have good games or a good run of games, and they're great. Like Jorginho will have a good run of games. Everyone will be like, oh, Jorginho's great. He'll have a couple of not too great games. And the fan base
I've got to just interject here, because you've now talked about Jorginho a couple of times now, man. I've got to say, I don't think he's a bad player as you sort of making it out to him. I think he's a system-based player. He's not a bad player, man. We've already seen under Thomas Tuchel how important he's been. And I can't allow this off. Jorginho is not a good player. He's played some good games.
I think he's a good player.
Under Frank Lampard, hold on, let me finish first of all, Aris, because you've been jumping on quite a few times in this particular stream. So let me now tell you a couple of things. Jorginho under Frank Lampard, how he was played is not how we play Jorginho. He is not a lone DM. He's not an attacking eight. The way Thomas Tuchel is playing him right now, it gels the whole team. I'm not saying Jorginho is a superstar, is a world-class player or anything like that. He's a key cog in this whole team. The way we operate right now, from defense to offense in midfield, the way we sort of control the ball, the possession, Jorginho is very important. You throw a player like Kante right now with Kante and Kovacic, you're not going to get that same result. Kante was perfectly brought in when we were 1-0 up. And that was a perfect scenario, because now Atletico Madrid's going to come after us, and Kante was the best in that situation. So, yeah, man, sorry to sort of jump in like that, but a couple of times you've now talked about Jorginho, which I don't think is the right way to talk about Jorginho. I think we need to be very fair with our criticism and balanced with our criticism. But, yeah, continue, man.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think Giroud, I'd like to see, I think he's supposed to be leaving at the end of the season, but honestly, I would like to see him stay for one more season, because I still think that his personality, his leadership, his qualities are still needed in the squad. I don't think Tammy is currently good enough to take up his mantle of being ahead of him in the team. And I think Giroud will still be motivated to continue playing, considering the World Cup is, I think it's 2022. So I think he'll still be motivated to get into that French national team squad. So I think he'll still be up for it. So I think we should keep Giroud for another year, and he can also be a backup striker, maybe to Werner, or if we bring in another striker like Haaland, which is, there's rumors, if we bring him in the summer, he can be a backup, because he's a key player and his quality. There's not much players like Giroud in Europe currently right now. So I think we should keep him by all means.
Yeah, no, 100%. Let's go to Nishal. Nishal, it's a good point that RS has brought up in regards to Giroud. Do we now keep him? Obviously, there's talks about Haaland. What is the future of Tammy Abraham? How do you sort of see this whole sort of transpiring? I mean, Giroud, I said it not that long ago that he is aging now. I mean, we can't just keep utilizing Giroud season after season after season. I mean, understand his value, but do you keep him for one more season, or this is his swan song for us?
Tuchel spoke about it recently, about Olivier Giroud. Of course, his contract is expiring in just 4 months. And he said, I'm not involved in the contract or the talk side of that. That's not my job. But from what I've seen from him, he's a very positive guy. He's a key influence. He's really a big influence with younger players. He's a professional. And from what Tuchel has said, he is a big admirer of him. And so am I, because he still has a role to play at Chelsea, whether he's the first choice or the second choice or the third choice. When we have a player like Giroud, who, yes, he's 34, he's going to be 35 in September, but we have a player like this, 11 goals this season, our second top goal scorer, and he scores important goals. We look at some of his moments throughout the season, 4 goals against Sevilla, the winner today. He's had loads of fantastic moments, and I think he's a player we hold on to. If he wants regular first-team football to end his career and he wants to move on, fair enough, and I would let him go in that case if that's what he wanted. But if he's happy to sign a 1-year contract extension, of course, that's club policy. We won't give more than a 1-year extension to over 30 players. If we get that extra year, use him. And if Haaland comes in, brilliant, get them come together. And if not, and we stay with that trio of Werner, Abraham, Giroud still has a role to play. Because we see, whether he's starting on the bench or coming on as an impact sub or starting these big European games, where we can rely on him, he's showing his worth and he's showing why he's such an important player for us. So I'm happy to keep him for another season. Then, if he wants to reevaluate, if he wants to stay longer, we'll see where we are. If he wants to leave, that's fine. But he is an excellent player. And for me, he still has a role to play with his club.
No, for sure, man. Taryn, it's a good point that Nishal has just said that, he still has an important role to play. Every time he's sort of, I think the biggest compliment that Giroud can have, every time he's been called upon, he's done a job, whether it's been starting or coming off the bench. How do you see this particular situation with Haaland links that's happening in the background? Obviously, there's not going to be space for everyone. Do you see someone like Giroud probably leaving, or is it Tammy? Because Tammy, let's be honest, twice under Thomas Tuchel now, he's been coming off first half. He's been hooked off. So where's your headspace with this whole situation?
Yeah, for me, I think that Giroud, like Nishal said, I think he can stay season if he can be a second or third striker, because as Nishal said, to echo that as well, that he has a real influence along the younger players. I saw a story come out that with Abraham, they're both devout Christians, so he gave Abraham a Bible and was kind of talking about Christianity and trying to support him to be a better striker and a better hold-up player. So I think that with the Giroud, I think that he has a good impact on the players. He seems like in the training videos, obviously that doesn't kind of sugarcoat everything that's going on, but I think that he looks like he has a good relationship with most players in this team, and he's an experienced head. He's played at a World Cup final. He's won a World Cup with France. To have players like this in your team, it's always good. You can't get rid of these players too easy because experience ultimately comes out. And yeah, I think that with the Haaland rumours, I'm happy for Haaland to come in next year, to be honest. With Abraham, like you said, he's had 2 chances under Tuchel. I'm not writing off Abraham. I think he's a class player. He scores great goals for us last season, our top scorer. But with Abraham, I think that his hold-up play, he's had chances to improve, but this season I haven't seen huge improvements in his amount of assists and his hold-up play. But with Haaland coming in, having Giroud, Haaland and Abraham as our strikers next year, then I'm not totally against it, because we won't really see Werner as a lone striker. If Haaland can come in and Giroud can still be there to help out the likes of Abraham to compete with Haaland before he eventually leaves. But with, like Nishal said, if he has to leave and wants to get game time for the World Cup in Qatar, then I'm not going to stop Giroud, because he's been such a good servant for this club. He scored a goal against Southampton in the FA Cup semi-final when he first came in. All the Europa League goals he scored, top scorer in the Europa League final goals last season when he came in. He could have left last season in January, but he's a good
servant. Come to think of it, he's done so much for us, Taryn. He's done a lot.
I love the guy. He could have left. He played hardly any games apart from the Norwich game and the Liverpool game and the Super Cup that I can remember. But with Giroud, he stayed. He scored the goal against Tottenham. He scored against Liverpool in the FA Cup game, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been him. But yeah, Giroud, I think he's been class for this club. And if he wants to leave, I'm totally for it. I'll support Giroud all the way. And bring in Haaland, another striker to compete with Abraham. I think that Haaland can produce these moments as well. Like you guys are saying, if we're relying on Giroud for these clutch moments, you've seen Haaland's overhead kick in the Champions League. He can produce big moments in big games. And ultimately, I think that Haaland right now, I'm not saying in the future, he's miles ahead of Abraham, in my opinion. So bringing in Haaland and having Giroud there is not the end of the world. But at the end of the day, it's all down to Giroud what he wants to do. But for most fans, I can speak that his goal today was absolutely world-class. The finish, not many players would do that in world football.
Sensation.
Absolutely amazing. Haaland come out, Giroud's come out and just done that. But yeah, with Giroud, I support him all the way. And I'm a huge Giroud supporter.
No, for sure. Let's talk about the subs, and obviously we'll talk about the players that we're missing out. Jonathan, I felt like the subs were very good today from Thomas Tuchel. The way, as soon as we went 1-0 up, brought in the likes of Kante, Ziyech, is probably suited in that situation where that Atletico is going to press and really push high up, and Ziyech probably roaming around and finding that ball for Werner, which he did a couple of times. So how do you see all the substitution? I think it was Kante, Ziyech, and who was the third one? There was a third. Pulisic and Kai Havertz and Reece James. We won't go into all of the other ones, but I think Kai Havertz as well, there was a question about false nine. But yeah, the Kante, Ziyech and Kai Havertz, how did you look into those substitutions?
Yeah, Kante was very smart, reacting to the attacking subs from Simeone to bring him on. And as I said earlier, bring Kovacic off, who was at a risk of missing the next match as well if he got booked. So smart. bringing intensity. Kante did push up the pitch a little bit, and Ziyech for Mount. Yeah, again, Mount. As we said earlier, was getting into some tackles, and I'm not saying he was at risk of a red card, but to bring him off in a game where we just needed a little bit of fresh legs, Ziyech did come on and do well. Yeah, there's a few times where he got on the ball and played a nice few ones in. There was one where he played into Werner. Werner didn't take the chance, but that was a nice ball in behind. So yeah, it was a promising one. We've had a few false starts with quite a few players this season coming back from injuries and having problems, and I hope Ziyech can now build on this in the next game that he plays. But yeah, again, to see Havertz and Pulisic come on as well, it was good to see, and to see them get stuck in. Maybe could have been 5-10 minutes earlier. I feel like maybe would have been a better chance to score a second goal, but completely agree with subs today, and I thought they were really, really good. So yeah, very, very happy with what he did. I feel like they were better subs than they were in the Southampton game, and I only asked for improvement. So yeah, Tuchel was a guy that's going to learn, and yeah, I haven't even talked about Reece James coming on just to solidify the right side. So yeah, the main ones, for me, Kante and Ziyech coming on did really well. And yeah, very, very happy.
I like this comment from Teshui Werner. Teshui, I hope I pronounced that right.
I think Man City would have something to say about this, to be fair. But they had they had Aguero on the bench the last 3 games. They haven't even brought him on. So yeah, I agree. We'd be a fantastic, different animal, but yeah.
I think
it creates an unfair level field. Sorry to interrupt. It creates an unfair playing field. And this is a whole debate. Sorry, it's very tangent, but I supported 5 subs within COVID, and everything happened, concussion substitutes as well. But it can create such an unfair. We've already got the gap between Brighton and Manchester City in terms of wealth, and it just gives us an unfair advantage. So to be honest, 3 subs, keep it that way, keep it fair for everyone.
No,
Champions League is interesting, I think, isn't it? Because it changes the complexity in such
absolutely.
Especially 2-legged games. It adds another dimension to it, and I think it spices it up. But yeah, with Nishal, I mean, if we bring on 5 subs against Southampton, it's a different result, and 3 subs the traditional way, I think is a bit fairer because yeah, we're not really feeling the effects of COVID. We're hardly having any positive tests anymore in the Premier League. So yeah, again, off tangent, but there's something I just want to address. Bashwai, I've seen in the comments, he is a striker. That is, he scored his goals for Chelsea, but he is someone that's just going to stand in the box and put the ball in the box and put the ball in the net. We don't put it on a plate enough for players. We need a striker to get involved in the play. So Bashwai, for me, his future's not at Chelsea. I just wanted to say that as I saw it in the comments, and my heart started racing, thinking, people want him back.
I saw that as well. Ares, I want to now talk to you about the whole Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz came on. I was really excited when he came on. I probably wanted him to be more of a false 9 and Werner behind him. It didn't turn out to be like that. But then again, the game was right at the end, so it was more of a being on the counter, really. Just quickly, from your perspective, Pulisic came on. I don't really think he had any sort of impact. I mean, it was such a short time. Good to see his beard back. Looks like he's serious. I know every time he grows his beard, he's serious about his career. What do you think in the upcoming matches? The players like Kai Havertz, Pulisic, and Ziyech, they're very important. They need to come good for us, yeah?
Yeah, I think our subs are just the embarrassment of riches we have. Our bench was so strong. Bringing them on, it pinned Atletico back because obviously, as you said, those subs, Atletico, after they went 1-0 down, Atletico wanted to attack us a bit, but those subs made them pinned down a bit because we had fresh legs that we needed. I would have loved to see Kai Havertz play as a false 9 because obviously the second half of last season under Leipzig, I think that was his most successful period playing false 9. Yeah, he was really good. So I'd like to see him false 9 and maybe Werner off him, and then maybe Ziyech, Pulisic or Mount in that other position because I think he's really good there. Instead of, he would have played that role better, linking up and stuff and dropping in because he has the technical ability to drop in behind and link up with the midfielders. So, yeah, and I think the second leg, Mount got a yellow card. I don't think we'll miss him, to be fair, in the second leg.
Do you think Kai Havertz starting instead of Mount?
I think Kai Havertz can start, Ziyech can start. We got so much depth. It's just unreal. Even when Mount I saw Mount got a yellow card. I said missing next match. I didn't really care. Like look at our bench. Like we got so much players that can literally replace him. Even Odoi can slot into that position. So yeah.
No, 100% agree. Honestly, I want to talk to Nishal about this. Let's now talk about the players that are missing. Jorginho and Mason Mount, ladies and gentlemen, as you guys have all mentioned in the live chat, will miss out the second leg. I think personally, I thought both Jorginho and Mason Mount, bar the criticism that we've all had about them, I think are still very important factors of this particular team, especially when you look at the best 11 under Thomas Tuchel. I think both of those players fit in, and they have been fitting in so far. So, Nishal, from your perspective, not having these two players for the second leg, which, bearing in mind, Atletico now has to come out. They really have to come out and go for it. I'm still confident that we're very, very solid enough to keep a clean sheet and whatnot, and we can still hurt them up front. But not having Jorginho and Mason Mount, how do you feel about that, number one? And then how do you replace them? How would you sort of shape up?
I mean, it's never nice to lose players, especially a key midfielder in Jorginho and a key attacker in Mason Mount. But as we've spoken about, we do have squad depth, we do have options, but a lot can change. My worry is because obviously I bring in N'Golo Kante in for Jorginho. I think that's kind of a natural choice. Yeah. And I know we've had that discussion about Kante and Kovacic, the risks behind it and why we're more reluctant to see it. But to be honest, if we're going for a double six like that, I think that works fine. And I've seen and I'm happy with it. But my only concern is that the game's a few weeks away, and I'm a bit worried, what if Conte aggravates his injury and do we bring Gilmour? And I wouldn't mind seeing Gilmour, but if I'm being really honest, I'd be reluctant to play him in a game like that because it's a very, very important game. And to bring a 19-year-old in, not that I doubt his ability because I know he's outstanding and I have a lot of respect for him and I love him. You know, it's great to see him in the team. But against a team like Atletico, where they'll have Saúl Ñíguez, they'll have Koke in the midfield. I'm not too sure if I'd want to see Gilmour coming in that case. So the main thing I'm saying there is we need to make sure Conte is okay, whether that's using him very sparingly fitness-wise, whether that's keeping him completely fresh, I don't know, but keep him there. In terms of Mason Mount, you know, we've got plenty of attacking options. We've got Pulisic and Ziyech, who didn't start because they've been out of form. And, you know, the return leg is in, I think, 3 weeks from now or 2 weeks. Yeah. And in that time, they can both get back into form. 3. So we can see that they could both get back into scoring hat-tricks every week, and it's like perfect, no issue. We could obviously Kai Havertz complete his full recovery from injury and from a disease, and he comes back into that fold. So the attacking situation of replacing Mason Mount, I'm not too bothered. You know, give him a rest. That's fine. We've got options there. But midfield is what I'm much more conscious about. And I don't think that, because we haven't seen Gilmour apart from in the FA Cup under Tuchel. I can't imagine Tuchel being like, yes, I want to give him a chance. Come on against Atletico. Great experience.
I don't think Billy will play against Atletico. As you said,
no, I don't think so either. But it's an option and it's something we can have. But if we're keeping the same formation, same shape, I would like to see Conte and Kovacic play together.
No, for sure. Taryn, this is a really good comment as well. Shout out to the Shuey Werner again. The only thing I'm worried about Mount missing out is his work rate. We have players that can basically do what he does on paper, but when it comes to work rate, I'm worried. I think this is probably what I'm worried about with Mason Mount. I think, as Nishal said, in midfield, probably the straight-up replacement will be N'Golo Kante. And I think it's a right situation for Kante as well, being 1-0 up. You probably want to be a bit more defensive and look for that seek and destroy interception from N'Golo Kante. Kovacic right next to him will be pivotal as well. But up front, no Mason Mount. First of all, who is your replacement? And can they match up with his energy and intensity as well?
Yeah, for me, that is a huge, huge miss that Mason Mount's not playing. Not for the fact that he's easily replaceable, just for the fact that he plays for the badge and he runs his 100% for 90 minutes. He plays most games and we don't ever see him getting tired. He's constantly running for the badge and running for the team because he is pure Chelsea and he's doing everything for the team he can. But for me, after lockdown, seeing Christian Pulisic come in, I'm sorry, I thought he was absolutely superb. He basically got us top 4 in the end when it was tough. If we didn't have Pulisic there and we had maybe a Hudson-Odoi in that stage, then I'm not sure we would have got past the likes of Leicester, Man United to get top 4. But yeah, for me, I think that Pulisic has that little bit of, we spoke about this on my first stream, that he has a little bit of pace in the half space. If he is pressed, to use his press resistance to break past the press. As we've seen with Mount, with Ziyech, I'm a huge fan of Ziyech, but I don't really find this half spaces position as the perfect for him, because if he has pressed a bit, he has shown a lack of intensity and pace in the past, that he is susceptible to losing the ball. And with Pulisic, if he picks up the ball, that's his bread and butter, to pick up the ball, draw defenders in, and go past 2 or 3 defenders. RIP Alexander-Arnold, Gomez, and Van Dijk for that goal. We've seen that he can easily do that. And in that role, I'd probably prefer Pulisic to. And I also think that Pulisic has a little bit more of an attacking threat than Mason Mount. I think that he has the kind of finish that Mount maybe, and a little bit of composure that Mount maybe wouldn't have had in the final third.
The 1v1 as well.
Yeah,
the 1v1.
1v1, of course. With Pulisic, I'm confident the goal against Crystal Palace, the assist against Liverpool, his goal against Man City, which I watched probably about 50 times in the background while I was eating dinner, that I think that Pulisic is absolutely superb. And yeah, I think that he's perfect for that position. But I'm still really not happy that Mount suspended. I thought that he was quite erratic in the first few minutes of that game, quite eager to prove himself as against Bayern Munich last year.
Was that really a yellow card? Just quickly?
Yeah, I thought in the first minutes that you kind of, if I was the ref in that situation, I'm a qualified ref, by the way, just to say FA qualified ref, I probably would have let that go. Like, I probably would have said the first few minutes, Mason, you are playing well, but just calm yourself, just relax there. But yeah, with Mount, there's a huge loss. His stamina's worked great. His ability to get in behind the lines, use his pace, play passes, diagonal balls, I think that's a huge miss. But Pulisic can do that role, okay. And I'd like to see Ziyech playing that game. I thought he was good today, but obviously they were attacking more. They weren't defending. When he came on against Southampton, they were pressing us to try and get the goal as well, maybe. So he didn't have as much space. Against Madrid, he had a lot more space, and he worked. If he maybe could have played that ball in the 89th minute, I believe it was, to Pulisic, I think Azpilicueta was running forward as well, if I believe, then we could have scored. And yeah, I'd probably play Pulisic, but I'm gutted that Mount's not playing. But with Kante in the midfield, I think we'll be fine. Maybe play a 3-5-2 with maybe Pulisic. No, actually not a 3-5-2. Maybe Pulisic up there and Kante and Kova kind of playing as that defensive screen, playing the defense. But yeah, I think hopefully we'll be fine in the second leg. But they're huge losses, like Nishal said. Jonathan touched on.
No, for sure. In regards to Hakim Ziyech, guys, 245 people logged on right now. Smash that like button. Get it to at least 200 likes. I will have a special show about Hakim Ziyech perhaps tomorrow to talk about all of these. I might get an expert from Ajax football who follows Ajax football a lot and knows Hakim Ziyech's football. So it'll be interesting to see now with the whole topic of Mason not being there for the second leg, and also with the upcoming games, how to get the best out of Hakim Ziyech. So I don't want to talk too much about him today, because I feel like it's probably better to do that with an Ajax fan who's seen Hakim Ziyech a lot and actually admires Hakim Ziyech a lot. So stay tuned for that coming up. Let's start wrapping things up. RS, let's go to you, my man. I want to close this shop with Thomas Tuchel praise. I think he deserves all the praise from all of us and in the live chat as well. Guys, tell us what you think about Thomas Tuchel as well, and I'll display some of the messages here. RS, surely now the entire fan base can praise Thomas Tuchel. He's got a victory against top team. Everyone's been saying, he's been just putting away the smaller teams. But surely now we can just say that he's a top manager to do what he has done so far in such a short time.
Yeah, I absolutely love Thomas Tuchel. I know the fan base were a bit not keen on him because obviously he's come after Chelsea, probably our best ever player, Frank Lampard. So obviously it would have taken a while for the fan base to get to him, but I think he's absolutely superb, and I think he can go on to do great things at Chelsea. Hopefully even surpass what Mourinho did, because with this squad right now, young, hungry, talented, still got have another like 8 years with this squad right now. And I just admire his tactical flexibility, especially in this game. We were on the front foot from minute one, and the way we're just able to calmly counter attack. Like we were after we got the first goal, we a bit waited for Atletico to come onto us. Then after we hit them with Ziyech, Werner, I just love that. I think maybe that's something he's coached into the players, and even from his first training session, we see the difference straight away against Wolves. Way we played against Wolves with how we are playing under Lampard in the last couple of games. And yeah, I'm just really excited for the future. Man United on Sunday. hopefully, I'm confident we can win against that in that game, and hopefully, I think we can even get top 3 this season. You know, I actually really think that's up for grabs, and hopefully, you can get far in the Champions League. And who says we can't win it? We're Chelsea. We've done in the past when the odds have been against us. Bayern are great. PSG are great. Man City are great, but we have the manager now who is capable of doing so. He got to the final last season, so why not? Why not?
Yeah, look, I completely understand how positive and confident you are. I was like that literally a couple of months ago when Frank Lampard was going through that unbeaten, and then I was sort of thinking, we've got the squad to do it. So I'm going to humble myself now. I think Thomas Tuchel is far superior manager than Frank Lampard. I think there's no discussion about that. But I want to humble myself as to how far we go to the Champions League. There are some crazy conversation, Jonathan, that they've said, when was the last time a young manager got sacked for Chelsea and a replacement came in and went on and win the Champions League? When was the last time Liverpool lost 2 back-to-back home losses? I think now they've lost like 3, and it was all 2012. That was the season where all of that sort of transpired, and it was sort of lining it up now.
It's written in the stars.
Yeah. So, Jonathan, from your perspective, my man, Thomas Tuchel, does he deserve all the praise now?
Yeah, we don't quite have the individual brilliance and the kind of leadership that we had of that 2012 winning team. And ironic that Nishal's sitting there with that superb jersey on. But yeah, why can't we go further? It depends on the draw. Obviously, we're in a very good position now. We're advantage us. I'd say we are now definitely the favourites going into the second leg. So all credit to Tuchel. As I said, I was a bit critical of him after the Southampton game. I didn't feel like he made the right changes. I don't feel like we set up very well. And he's come out and admitted that. So look, he's always honest. He conducts himself brilliantly in press conferences. Some of us are even lucky enough to talk to him and ask him questions. He's a breath of fresh air, and he's done and said all the right things after, like RS said, us letting a legend go. So can be very, very happy. And as I said a few times, it was the first real test tonight against. I think Tottenham was a test, but the way they were playing, the way they're set up, I just felt confident we'd be able to break them down. And they never really tested us. And even today, weren't really tested by a side who's out of form. And I know they've got injuries, but even Simeone said, I'm not going to use that as an excuse. Chelsea have got a good attack and fair play to them. So, look, he's the sort of manager that will pat himself on the back. But tomorrow morning, he'll be thinking about Man United and he'll be wanting to get these players ready for that game. He won't want to rest on his laurels. He will make sure that we are raring to go for this game because, with that draw Southampton and obviously West Ham winning, we're now back in 5th place. There's a few teams around us that can catch us up.
It's a big game.
Massive game. Liverpool can't get much worse, I'd say, the way they're playing, and they're still within reach. So, look, we've got to sharpen up in the Premier League. It's great to be still in the FA Cup and have the opportunity in the Champions League. It's as I said, breath of fresh air. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the game, and I'm really looking forward to building it up because we've spent 2 days building this game up, and I want to build this Man United game up now with myself and Leas and other people because I'm really buzzing for that game. I've got a lot of friends that are Man United fans, so can't afford to lose this one. And this Atletico Madrid jersey, I'm gonna take it down because we've gone. I know it's not their own backyard, but this is the first leg done. Second leg, that'll be back up because they will come and they will test us at Stamford Bridge, no doubt. They are a very good side. They will have more players back, I'm sure. Simeone will have the bit between the teeth. So, advantage Tuchel, and well done. But we go again tomorrow ahead of the massive game on Sunday.
Yeah, man.
Come on, lad.
What did you say, sorry?
You better not have a United shirt in your cupboard. If I see one,
I don't. As I said, no English shirts. I've got if we play PSG, I've got a PSG shirt. I've got a Dortmund shirt. So I've got all the kind of the next rounds. I'm pretty confident I've got a jersey for it.
We're gonna have a big build up to the Man United game, as you said. Leas he's been WhatsApping me since yesterday that boys, we got to set out the timetable as to how we're going to do this because we want to go to his channel. He wants to come to our channel, so do look out for that. Nishal, I wanted to bring up, Dane Simpkins. Here we go. He's been putting out some nice comments, but this one is one where I feel like once again some parts of our fan base could possibly not praise Thomas Tuchel. I feel like he can never get praised because as soon as team sort of sits back, do you believe Atletico are a horrible team? I don't think they're a horrible team one bit just because they sat back. That's just the way they play. But it's still a big tick mark for Thomas Tuchel with this particular victory, right?
Call them horrible. They're top of La Liga. They don't care. They're going for a second league title in 7 years. They're the best team in Spain right now. They don't care if they're horrible. That's how they play. That's how they win. On Thomas Tuchel, absolutely delighted with him. I've been full of praise for him since day one. That's 8 games unbeaten. And we had criticism, everything trying to tear him down. He's played easy teams. We've not scored more than 2 goals. We've not had any real tests. This was his first real test. I wrote a piece about it saying, this is where we need to prove ourselves on the European stage. And my God, did we do that. And, so much credit to the team, to Tuchel especially. From observing him in the last few weeks, he is an absolutely fascinating man, one which I've really enjoyed talking to, listening to, watching, observing. He's such an intelligent and intriguing man to watch. And from a month of observing him, doing Tuchel Watch, I can tell you he is going to have a good future. He's going to have a good, whether it's a year, 10 years, God knows how long. But I'm very excited and very positive for Thomas Tuchel. Like we said, the focus is on Manchester United now. I guarantee you he's on that flight back from Romania right now, already planning how to attack Manchester United. And that's going to be a massive, massive game. And I can't wait to build that up and get into content for that. But we're in a fantastic position, and long may the Tuchel era live.
No, 100% agreed. I can't put it any better than that, Nisha. You've absolutely talked like a journalist there, and that's exactly how each and every one of us feel. Taryn, I'm going to let you finish the show off this time. I feel like Timo Werner, he is going to come good for us. I want to let you're the biggest fanboy of Timo Werner. Let us know about Thomas Tuchel, but, all praise to him, yeah?
Yeah, no, from the first minute that Tuchel came in, I just had a sense of him that he's going to do great things at this club. When he came in and it was being announced on Sky Sports News a few hours before the 6 p.m. training session, I was watching videos upon videos of this guy, and I was just so intrigued by his interview with Rio Ferdinand, his different interviews about the players. I'm really interested in this guy about what he has to do. He came in the first game. I thought he did all right for the first game, implemented. We look completely different against Wolves, and to do that in the first training session. But yeah, like Nishal said, I'm sure he's on the plane planning that game against Man United. Each and every player trying to attack them, their weaknesses, who to play where, and doing this and that. And I'm sure that against Man United, we'll see more shocks as well about how we play, and more fans will be proven wrong about Tuchel. But yeah, it's not nice with the Lampard situation that some fans, I agree that some fans maybe are a bit wary on Tuchel, because obviously Lampard's one of our best players of all time, but Tuchel's came in and he's put his mark down as a world-class manager straight away. And to come in against these tough games, Atletico against Tottenham, and to still be unbeaten after 8 games, there's been no real blips along the way so far, apart from a few errors here and there. But I think that Tuchel has proved so far that if he can stay good with the board, and we've seen there's some stories that come out that he can have a tendency to fall out with the board, then I can see Tuchel guiding these young players, these German talents, these English talents, all of our team to come together. Maybe Erling Haaland. This guy may be the guy to be our next big manager, big successful manager since the likes of Mourinho and Ancelotti. Because I like the way he manages. He has a more calming managing technique, and in the media he isn't quite erratic. He's quite calm. He likes to put his mark on the reporters and kind of say, "I'm in control here. Whatever you ask me, I know exactly what you're gonna ask, and I'm gonna reply with my way." But yeah, he's come good with the media, with the fans. He's constantly mentioning Lampard and how it's not nice. He's come to the fans and said, yeah, it's not nice. And he's balanced it out. And I'm really excited for Tuchel, and hopefully he can get out my boy Timo Werner. And yeah, I'm really excited for Lampard. Not Brilliant. Lampard, sorry guys, Tuchel.
That's a great way to finish off. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps us up. Fantastic victory. What a night in the European stage. We get the 1-0 clean sheet. I think people are forgetting that clean sheet, massive. Away goal, not conceding, getting that victory, now going to Stamford Bridge. Hopefully we can wrap things up and move forward, but we've got some big games coming up, so do look out for all of that. Guys, to each and every one of you guys, 246 people online right now, please take the opportunity, smash that like button. Thank you, each and every one of you guys, to coming in and tuning in, as you always do. And all of my panelists out here, please follow them. All of the information's in the description right now. Follow them everywhere. So yeah, guys, until next time, everyone, take care. See ya.